My name is Wanniappa. I'm the founder of a company called Future Horizon Technologies, which is a company which invests. I wasn't actually aware that Jacques was going to talk about disruptive technologies, but in disruptive technologies, amongst others, a drone company. So let me, and Sean asked me to come and talk about it more from an investment perspective to see where the industry is heading. It is a normal technology presentation, but I'll try and adapt it to an investment perspective. So the first thing is, where's my slide? Okay, it's fine. Is where I use the word disruptive technologies, and many of you probably heard about the fourth industrial revolution. So I want to spend a little bit of time talking about that, and then showing how what I do fits into the fourth industrial revolution. I'm sure a lot of you know this and heard of the term as we have gone through the various phases of industrial revolution, starting from the first industrial revolution with mechanization really coming from the epitome of it being steam engines. Second one moving into really mechanization electric energy to be able to go and do mass production. Here's where the lines are starting to get blurred, obviously. They refer to the third industrial revolution as being the electronics age and starting in the digital age. But even the ideas of computers and supercomputing and the early start of cloud computing has come into being. So what exactly then is the fourth industrial revolution? And I'm sure many of us use the word and we throw it and it's been bandied around. What are the concepts that are in there? So if I can ask the audience, can you tell me a few technologies that you believe fit into the fourth industrial revolution? Just say it aloud. 3D printing, I heard. Louder? Blockchain. IoT. Sorry? Biometrics. Could be part of that. What you don't see is drones. In the official definition as per the World Economic Forum, in their documentation, there is no specific reference to drones. But don't be too worried about that, because there's a lot of drones that fit into these concepts that you talked about, or we all talked about. So I refer to it as essentially the amalgamation of technologies, and not just the individual technologies that link basically the physical dimensions with the digital dimensions, and then more and more in the biological dimensions. Jacques touched on it a little bit with some of the things he showed, but when you talk about things like artificial hands and what they are capable of being able to do, or 3D printing ears and many of the other type of human elements. So that, for me, really is the distinction between the third industrial revolution and the fourth industrial revolution. But it's really bringing everything together. So I call it a fusion of exponential technologies. So is it hyper-reality? And are we just using concepts which we have used before? So you mentioned a whole bunch of them already. So if we look at Internet of Things, here, we looked at blockchain, which the gentleman in the front mentioned. A lot of work around big data and analytics. And in fact, for drones, I'll show where drones fit in. Artificial intelligence. One that people haven't completely talked about is virtual reality, which is the venture that I'm involved in. 3D printing is there. And then quantum computing, which is kind of the next level of cloud computing and supercomputing. And then lastly, intelligent robots. Now, intelligent robots is everything and everything, anything. So if we look at where do drones fit in, and why would an investor or you as a company that's working on drones get involved in this, is, there's so many places it fits into the fourth industrial revolution technology set, right? It's got certainly the analytics and data capturing capabilities. First data capturing and then the analytics on top of that. And the issue is, at which point does the intelligence take place? Is it done at the edge where the drone is taking pictures, or is it done later on, uploaded into the cloud or even manual backups and then processed at a central position based on whether it's real time or not real time? Artificial intelligence. I think Jacques spent a lot of time talking about that. Virtual reality and getting into augmented reality and the use of drones for 360-degree capabilities and showing that in the film, in the house market. That's really gaining a lot of traction in their sports, in sports. Intelligent robots, that's everything from cars, autonomous drones, anything that can do that. I mean, we've got underwater drones, so even the definition of UAV, is blurred, and that's why I call this the fusion. Interesting enough, which is another area I work on, is Internet of Things, because the ability to embed sensors, whether it's locally or in drones, thermal sensors, barometric sensors, moisture sensors, there is a significant amount of things that can be put into drones, which drones will be eventually used as the means of getting to those positions and being able to mobile. And then lastly, as well, with blockchain. I'm not sure, that's another area I've got a business in. The applications of, for instance, in deliveries, for payments, when the drone does a delivery straight through your window and you accept it, there's a piece of that. Is it just parachuting stuff down, pizzas, and then accepting it because payment has already taken place? But many of the times there has to be proof that you agree with something, and that can be done through the blockchain in something called smart contracts. So that whole process will be automated, that can be built into the drone, where some of you might have seen a video where the drone comes in, there's a small locker, there's a code, you press the code, or biometric sensor, it opens the item, you pick it up, you take it, and at that point, the transaction happens, for instance, because obviously, blockchain, is used a lot for payments, etc. So I haven't touched on quantum computing, but certainly from a cloud computing perspective, there's a requirement, and with the technologies on connectivity, etc., to be able to move the data from the drones to the cloud. I'm sure many of you offering services at the moment battle in a mine to be able to immediately provide results, because the data sizes are huge. There's a need to move data, either into the cloud or have local processing centers. How do you actually do that? So that's still a big limitation, and I would like to actually talk about your experience with that. So I'm involved in a company which started off as a drone company, but is morphing into a artificial intelligence and Internet of Things company. It's called Omnipresent Global. It does a lot of different things, but what I want to do, rather than get into this, because other presenters have talked a lot about the applications of drones, including Dr. Roelof Botha, is a project that we're involved in at the ports in Durban, which essentially involves container tracking. From the time when the container is picked up from the loader and of the ship, and from to the point where it's either sent to be able to transport it out of the yard, or it's stacked in the yard, and that's actually more of our project, is where it's stacked. You can imagine 20,000 containers. How do the people who are running operations know where this is? So what we have done is we have used the technologies that I referred to earlier, including we'll get to artificial intelligence, but basically scanning, computer vision, using drones and not using drones, processing, using some artificial intelligence capabilities to be able to identify, because many times the container tracking number is not visible properly, it's run off, there's digits missing, so you have to go and do a recon, and it'll get better and better with machine learning. Using augmented reality, so an operator can put on glasses and be able to see physically, not physically, virtually, where the container is in X, Y, and Z. So in many instances, and that's what drone facilitates quite a lot of, is you can do the X and Y, which is typical, GPS type stuff, but the drone facilitates the Z, the vertical side. So you can see many of these stacking yards are 3 high with about 10 wide and about 20 or 50 across. So how do you know where exactly that one is? Now your system and your inventory management will say it's in this locality, but to find exactly where it is and mapped, and that's a technology which in addition to drones, the other technologies come in. And that is where the fourth industrial revolution kicks in, because it's the amalgamation of those technologies that allow us to do what we're trying to do, and not just one. So it's not just a drone. Okay? So I want to show a video that brings this whole thing together. Some of you might have seen this before.
Former pilots directed almost 3,000 precision strikes last year. We're super proud of it. It allows you to separate the bad guys from the good. It's a big deal. But we have something much bigger. Your kids probably have one of these, right? Not quite. Hell of a pilot? No. That skill is all AI. It's flying itself. Its processor can react 100 times faster than a human. The stochastic motion is an anti-sniper feature. Just like any mobile device these days, it has cameras and sensors, and just like your phones and social media apps, it does facial recognition. Inside here is 3 grams of shaped explosive. This is how it works. Did you see that? That little bang is enough to penetrate the skull and destroy the contents. They used to say guns don't kill people. People do. Well, people don't. They get emotional, disobey orders, aim high. Let's watch the weapons make the decisions. Now, trust me, these were all bad guys. Now that is an airstrike of surgical precision. It's one of a range of products. Trained as a team, they can penetrate buildings, cars, trains, evade people, bullets, pretty much any countermeasure. They cannot be stopped. Now, I said this was big. Why? Because we are thinking big. Watch. A $25 million order now buys this. Enough to kill half a city. The bad half. Nuclear is obsolete. Take out your entire enemy, virtually risk-free. Just characterize him, release the swarm, and rest easy. Dumb weapons drop where you point them. Smart weapons consume data.
I cut that video there. This video is a bad representation of some very good technologies. Don't know who knows about this. This is an anti-AI video created by an organization which is funded by Elon Musk, who is, as many of you know, is totally against AI because he thinks that's going to be the death of human beings and why he wants to go to Mars. But essentially what you see there is exactly what we know can happen. You've got the technologies like face recognition, you've got the positioning, you've got the ability to make decisions, sensors, and so, it is a parody. There's probably stuff that exists already with the Hornet that's existing there, but it was to really show if we take it too far, can you get down to the level of identifying people through social media and then taking them out? So, but I thought it's just a good video of showing what's absolutely possible. From an investor perspective, one of the reasons why drones is a very commercially viable investment is because of what it delivers from here in terms of things like cost. The cost of being able to do it through a drone versus using things like a helicopter. By the way, the Transnet uses helicopters, and they've done a pilot where a lot of it can be replaced by drones. Effectiveness, the reliability, the ability to do surveys at a much better accuracy than, for instance, a quantity surveyor down to 99% efficiencies. Safety means not to send people where you could send a drone. Telecommunication abilities. Efficiency, much faster, much smoother, much easier to be able to do similar business through there. And then diversity, which is what Jacques and everyone has been talking about it. In other words, it's such a versatile tool, application. It can essentially be able to do everything. It pulls a lot of technologies together. And that's actually the reason why I'm so passionate about it and continue to play a role in this industry. Thank you very much.